Would you not eat my pants?
Wow. Jinkies, wow. Bitcoin finding support at the bottom of this 2-month ascending triangle here on Coinbase's chart. 2 consecutive green candles in a row right at the bottom of this ascending triangle. Still very much in play, still very much valid. However, we'll show you that if we get to this certain point on the chart, we think we will 100% instantly be coming up to test the top of this ascending triangle, and potentially that would be our quickest chance of getting above 10.5. However, as you guys know, my ultimate scenario is still this longer time frame, almost 10-month by the time it's completed, inverse head and shoulders here on the daily chart, and as well a pullback to the areas on this chart and a break above would actually correlate perfectly to the time frame here. New Bitcoin price model suggesting an exponential bull run in 1 month. That would 100% perfectly line up with the time frames of this inverse head and shoulder by completion. And we'll get into more data about this exponential bull run, guys, because as I've been saying, I 100% think by the final quarter of this year, and especially in my opinion, inevitably in 2021, this entire time we are going to be going through a massive bullish cycle. What would you do if this was your last month to prepare before things got absolutely juicified? Absolute wowage. And as well, Bitcoin actually holding on our very last line, as we've been talking about the past 3 days, for 3 days now, on our 3-month ascending channel, guys. This is all still in play. We said if we got a concrete break from this, we would go much lower, and we never ended up breaking 8.8K. As you can see on this chart, we bounced right exactly at the bottom of this channel. Now, what does this mean? Because we still have a lot of overhead resistance, in my opinion. However, what lines up on 4 of these 5 charts is this exact area, which if we break, we're not there just quite yet. By the time this video gets uploaded, we might be. But if we break this, I 100% think, as I mentioned just a minute ago, we will come to the very top of this, and potentially this could be a breakout and could invalidate this inverse head and shoulder. For this inverse head and shoulder to be in play, guys, remember, we need to break the 8.8, which we've not been able to do concretely for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. Wow, I hope you're hydrated, because this video is going to take a lot out of you. Let's do this. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another late night edition Monday episode. We want to come on, webisode, my apologies. Wanted to come on and just bring you some Bitcoin TA here, because we do see the price moving a little bit, and we've gotten some key confirmations on all of these charts. And there's one thing lining up that I think many of you guys are going to be very interested to see. Okay, so a lot to get into. Wow, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit the ding, subscribes, turn on the comments, and as well turn on the subscribes, and let's jump in to the webisode. Wow, guys, this is huge. So we can actually start off on this chart, because this has been just key for the last few days. If we want this inverse head and shoulders to complete, obviously we need to go down, right? That'd be the only way to complete it. But the only way that we're ever going to do that, I think a next big drop would be if we broke the 8.8K. I think, again, we'd be going to like 81 or 8200, and then subsequently the pullback would most likely continue. However, we still have not broken. We got a very strong bounce, obviously. Okay, this is our 3rd day after that bounce, and we're just continuing to climb. However, I'm a little hesitant to see if we'll even break 92, which we haven't yet. We're above it by like $30, but again, that's not really that significant at all. We could easily get a retracement here. However, if we do continue going up, I want to show you on all of these different time frames, all of these different patterns, and all of these different charts, what is a very, very confluent pattern that we have on these charts. Wow, so above the $9,200 level, we do have both the 21 and the 50-day moving averages. As you can see, there's actually a cross going on right now, with the 21 moving average going below the 50-day moving average. Again, I don't think those are necessarily super significant in this context. However, what is significant is they both line up here, which is right around that $9,400 USD level, which as well, we have it line up perfectly here as well on the 4-hour chart, which is a heavy line of resistance. And for the entire past 2 months, this actually lines up with the most traded volume here on the VPVR. This is the point of control. So this red line right here also lines up with 9,400 after getting a little bit of a bounce here with this falling wedge. We bounced originally, found resistance around 97, got pushed back, barely went anywhere, got pushed back again. So we found like 3 bounces in just the last week here on the top of this. So again, looks pretty weak. But as well, if we switch to this chart, the $9,400 level actually lines up perfectly with this green line if we came up to here, which this green line, many of you know, is the 2.5-year resistance for Bitcoin. If we zoom out, you can see this goes back pretty far, pretty significant there. But something else I want to point out as well, by the time you guys can see the length of this potential ascending triangle right here is very similar to the length of this ascending triangle back at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And so when that ascending triangle broke, it took Bitcoin obviously from 4,000 to 14,000, so very, very powerful. Now this one, instead of being at the bottom of this 3-year basically pattern right here, symmetrical triangle, instead of being at the bottom like this one was at the very top. So potentially in terms of the structure and size of this potential ascending triangle right here, this undoubtedly could give us enough juice to give us, multiple thousands of dollars in terms of breakout over a period of a month or two. The size of this ascending triangle is big enough, I think, 100%, that we could see a very big break. And that's why this is the only bullish pattern on the short term that we're talking about as being important here. And our main other pattern is a more downside target, which ultimately becomes very bullish. Inverse head and shoulders are insanely bullish, but again, we haven't completed a right shoulder here. So until that would happen, this pattern still is a lot of speculation. However, this pattern has, dozens and dozens of touch points here. If you can see on even the daily chart here, you can see 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 10 on the top side of this. And then similarly, a little over 10 here on the bottom side. So this pattern is very much still in play, I think, and it's very strong that we indicated some support right here at the bottom of this ascending triangle. So again, if we come up, I don't anticipate we actually just smash through 94. Again, we have 94 being resistance here for the past 2.5 years. We have 94 being resistance here on the 4-hour chart, and as well the point of control right here, this area of very high volume, traded volume, as well 94 here where both the 21 and 50-day moving averages are. So again, to get really bullish in the short term and to start to think maybe this inverse head and shoulders wouldn't form, then if we did break 94, then again, that becomes reality. But until we do that, again, I'm not super confident that we're going to continue up in the short term. Imagine if we did, okay? Imagine if we just started creeping up like this. Doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. I still think it would be more powerful if we continued to consolidate, and as well, that significant drop if we form that right shoulder. But again, the longer that this pattern takes to play out, the longer that it consolidates in this boring range, which is over 2 months now, everything I just circled, the stronger the breakout inevitably will be. And as well, on this chart, you can see this lower level of support right here, still hanging on barely. You can see it actually closed the daily candle right here at 9,000 exactly almost, and then 9,126 is where the following candle closed, and now currently our candle's at 9,220. So all 4 of those charts are actually lining up to be resistance, and actually this one as well. So here it is, the 9,400 on this chart. If we zoom out, you can see that's kind of just as well the 2.5-year resistance, but on a different chart. This one's on Bitfinex. Now, another thing interesting to note that I want to cover before we get into the rest of the video is that we do have the EMA ribbon actually consolidating towards the top, which usually we've seen happen before we got a big substantial drop. Okay, so when we see it green consolidating towards the top like it did here, we saw a very big drop. And conversely, when we see it consolidating red at the bottom of the ribbon like this, we see big pumps afterwards. So what we're seeing right now, and we can actually show you that here as well. See where it gets very tight in red right here, big pump up. Now the opposite when it gets very tight in green, which you can see it's consolidating a fair amount right here. It's not super green just yet, but you can see how much is consolidated right here. This usually happens before a big drop, which again, guys, my ultimate scenario, we get a nice, it'd be perfect if we got it this week. We just started the price action of this week. For this weekly candle. It would be perfect in my opinion if we got that. I know a lot of you guys watching probably would hate to see it, but that transitions me into the last thing I want to talk about here. New Bitcoin price model suggesting an exponential bull run in just 1 month. Now, even if we got that big pullback for the right shoulder of the inverse head and shoulder, that would still perfectly line up with this article, which is why I wanted to transition to it here. So Willy Woo published a new Bitcoin price model showing a Bitcoin bull run beginning in 30 days. I want to read his quote here. The longer the bull market takes to wind up, the higher the peak price or the top cap model. A long sideways accumulation band is ultimately a good thing. And you can see that here. I'll actually blow it up a little bit. Okay, so it says this model suggests we are close to another bullish run, maybe another month to go. And you can see here, when this blue line here, the Woo indicator, touched the bottom of this green uptrend, you can see very shortly after, it was like the beginning of the cycle going back to 2012, 2016, and as well, it looks as though, even though we just had one, but again, he is comparing that and saying that the reason that happened is because of what happened on March 12th in the global economy. Obviously, you guys, that's hard to factor into TA because it's like a black swan event. Nobody was really anticipating that all of the markets were going to do what they did on March 12th. It was not part of a lot of models because it's basically unpredictable. That's exactly what a black swan event means. And as well, additional factors point to a bull run. The upward trend has morphed into more of a sideways pattern and has experienced some dips lately. However, market structure remains intact. The series of higher lows has not been broken. Does this pattern continue to hold? And despite everything going on, Bitcoin's price has basically remained in an uptrend ever since the beginning of March. So overall, basically pointing to the beginning of this bull run very, very soon. Now, just because it's the beginning of the bull run doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to be at $20,000 by next month. It just means we're basically entering a different type of market, which if you've only been in cryptocurrency since, the first few months of 2018, basically all you've experienced is a bear market. And fundamentally, a bull market is different. So if in fact we're switching to that bull market, basically what that means doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to instantly go to $20,000 exactly from a month from now, but it just means that that cycle and the pattern behavior of the movement of the market and the price of the market exponentially could change. And inevitably, in my opinion, will change towards that later half of this year, but that model specifically is showing within a month from now, which is absolutely wild. Wow, so again, 9,400, you guys, if we continue a move, I'm not going to get excited about this move until 9,400, until we break 9,400, maybe come back and test it for support and then continue up. But 9,400 is the biggest thing to look for in my opinion. We have it on this chart, we have it on this chart, we have it on this chart with the two moving averages right there, and as well we have it on this chart. Absolutely huge. Wow, and guys, this is our second final day to get T4 V3 for the current price of version 3 before we update it. Remember, if you have it forever. We have every chart covered in these videos on here. We have a bunch of information on trading, technical analysis. Definitely something you want to check out. Absolutely huge. And as well, guys, if you're looking to get another place to buy cryptocurrency, recommend crypto.com. Links in the description and in the pinned comment. You and I both get 50 free MCO when you sign up and do the whole sign up process. Wow. Thanks so much for coming by, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.